Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my March wrap up. I actually had such a good reading month. It was amazing. I read so many good books. There was only one that I didn't love that much, and that's it. All the rest were 4 or 5 stars. I read a total of 8 books in March, which is pretty good for me, so I'm really happy with that. I feel like 8 is going to be the number I'm going to be aiming for every month. I am hoping to read a bit more next month. I read 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. This was amazing. It was a 4 star for me. The only reason I didn't give it a 5 star was literally because it took me a bit of a while to get into it. But once I were into it, oh my god, I was obsessed. I think I read the last 200 pages in one sitting. It was just that good. I loved it so much. There was twists and turns every 2 seconds. It was so thrilling. It was just everything. The plot twist at the end in this did not see it coming at all. My jaw was on the floor. I couldn't predict anything in this book. This is about a group of 6 friends that are going on a road trip, and during this road trip, at the start everything seems good, it's all happy days, and then eventually they notice that their tyre has been sniped. It's been slashed, and they're like, okay, that's a bit weird. Eventually they do fix this wheel, but then a bit later on some more stuff starts going wrong, and every 2 seconds, every page, something else has gone wrong. Eventually they get trapped in this van because there's someone outside stalking them and saying, if you don't reveal a certain secret, I'm gonna shoot you. And yeah, it's basically just about that, and you unravel loads of secrets. This is so fun because you're following along with them for 8 hours, and you're following them as they try and come up with tactics to try and stay safe, as they sort of go against each other and start blaming each other and sort of becoming really paranoid. It's just so good. You really feel all the emotions while reading this. The next book I read in March wasn't actually on my TBR, but it was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I loved this book. This was another 4 star. It was just so good. I think it only took me 2 days to read this, which usually books this thick take me about 3 to 4 days, so I was very obsessed. This was a 4 star because I can't lie, there were a few cringy lines in this book that I was just like, ooh, that bothered me a little bit. I can't give this a 5 star because that just made me feel a bit nauseous, some of the things that people were saying in this, and Knox could be a bit aggressive at times. But other than that, I really enjoyed the couple in this, and I really enjoyed the small town environment. I just loved the setting of this book, and I loved the community. I really enjoyed the found family with Naomi and her niece. That was just so sweet. So basically this is about Naomi, who is a runaway bride, and she ends up in this town and she's going to meet her sister. But when she gets there, she realises that her sister has left her niece for her to look after, and she doesn't really get on with her sister. Her sister's a bit of a nasty person, should we say, and she doesn't take responsibility for her actions. She's a big criminal, and she just leaves Naomi with this responsibility to look after this child, and Naomi sort of has to figure out her life and figure out how she's gonna do this. And while she's in this small town, she ends up meeting bad boy Knox, who is very grumpy, insanely grumpy, like probably the grumpiest guy I've ever read. Even though he could be a bit aggressive at times, I loved him. He was so good. One thing I wrote in my journal is I loved how, even though it was a romance, there was so many side plots. Like with this book, because it is so thick, you're like, why is it so thick? Because it's a romance book. Because there's so much in this book, like there's so much packed into it. And I love that because it wasn't just about the romance. Sometimes you can read a romance and it's just about those 2 people. And I just really enjoyed following Naomi along while she's figuring out what the hell she's going to do with this kid. Is she going to take on that responsibility? Is she going to keep that kid? And yeah, some of the plot twists in this were so good as well. And everything that Knox did for Naomi had my heart melting. Like, he was so giving and so sweet, but also at times he was a bit, you know, a bit red flaggy at times, but he was still great. And I try not to see those red flags because I loved him. Highly recommend. 4 star, you should definitely start this series. We're getting on to the one that I didn't love that much. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I I wanted to love this so bad. Like, this was one of my most anticipated reads. I thought I was gonna absolutely be obsessed with this book. It just fell flat for me. I really thought I was going to be obsessed with this book and I just wasn't. It was a 3-star. Don't get me wrong, it was still good. Like, there were parts that I did really enjoy in this book, so that's why it's a 3-star. And there was parts in it that I was like, but I found myself just not interested because the characters were just so irritating. I just didn't care about them. So when the plot twist did happen at the end, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good plot twist, but I don't care. I just didn't care about the characters, and I have to care about the characters to care about the plot twist, if that makes sense. One minute, oh, everything's a bit chill, little things are happening here and there, and then the next minute, just full pelt, everything's happening. It's a short book, but it was just so weirdly tasty for me. I didn't really enjoy the ending with the husband because he made questionable decisions, and I was just like, that doesn't make sense at all. This is about a married couple that go on this getaway to Scotland, and they get given this trip for free. The secrets that these two are keeping from each other start to show, and you start to discover all these secrets. And throughout this whole book, the wife is writing letters to the husband from, I think, the start of their marriage, and you sort of see how their marriage sort of falls apart. Wife in this is sick of her husband not recognising her, sick of his workaholic, like, all he cares about is his work and he doesn't care about her. I feel like I'm really bad at explaining that, but honestly I don't remember much about this book. I just was not interested. I did originally give it like a 3.75, but honestly I'm just going to give it a 3 because it just, yeah, there were parts I liked, but overall it wasn't my favourite book in the world. My 5-star read of the month, we have When in Rome. This was the cutest story ever. I love this couple so much. Love the aesthetic of this book. I really enjoyed the tropes in this as well. It was just everything to me. And this is another Grumpy Sunshine, and Grumpy Sunshine is like my favourite trope in the world. It is the best. You're following on with Ray as she's trying to find herself again because she loses herself because of her fame, and you're like following along with her while she's figuring out what she likes and what she wants to do with her own life. It's just so sweet. I love the small town that Ray got stuck in with Noah because it's just, I just love the small town trope. It's just so cozy and just makes you feel so content and happy, and it's just such a good environment. I think there is going to be a second book for this and I'm so excited. This is about Noah and Ray ends up deciding, okay, I want to go on a trip to find myself again. She is obsessed with Audrey Hepburn and Audrey Hepburn's film Roman Holiday, so she decides, I want to go to Rome, but she can't exactly get to Rome, so she decides to go to Kentucky Rome instead. And when she's driving to this place, she ends up getting stuck in Noah Walker's garden, and Noah Walker walks out like, do you need help? What's happened? And she ends up being stuck with Noah Walker in his home. Well, she has to get her car fixed. So she is stuck with Noah for a little bit, and she's stuck in this small town, and she slowly falls in love with the small town and starts to develop a friendship slash relationship with Noah Walker, and it's just the best. The next book I read, which I did actually do a reading vlog on, so if you want to see all my opinions on it, you can. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book was a whole journey. So many emotions, so many twists that you just didn't see coming, and I loved it so much. This was a 4 out of 5 star. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars, I don't really have a reason, it just didn't feel like a 5 star to me. But it was so good and I was so obsessed with the story. This whole story was just phenomenal. Like, it was really well written, and I get the hype with Taylor Jenkins writing because she's just so good, and I can't wait to read more of her work, and I can't wait to start reading all of her books because I'm definitely gonna, because she's just such a good author. I also loved that the main character in this, Evelyn Hugo, was so complex. Like, she had so many flaws, and I really enjoyed that in this book. It's got like different sections for each husband, and you follow along with each story, how these husbands help Evelyn with her fame, how they are involved in her story, and if they're good or if they're bad, because some of them were really good people and then some of them were disgusting men. Definitely check the trigger warnings for this book. There is a couple of things that happen in it that are very triggering, and this story was very tragic and extremely sad. This is basically about reclusive Hollywood icon Evelyn Hugo. She decides that she's ready to tell the truth about her life and the things she did and the questionable decisions she made, and as well the 7 husbands, because no one actually knows her truth. No one actually knows what happened. There was a lot of rumours about Evelyn Hugo, and she just wants to tell everyone the straight facts. So she decides to email this company that Monique works with and says, I want Monique. If it's not Monique interviewing me, I don't want anyone else, which is just really strange. Why is she so obsessed with having Monique write her story? Such a beautiful story, and I really recommend everyone to read this. The last books of this wrap up was the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy, which was absolutely incredible. If you want to see my opinions, I did upload a reading vlog just before this video, so if you want to go watch that and see all my thoughts on these books, you can. But I gave this one a 5-star, and I gave this one a 5-star. These were amazing, and I gave this one a 4-star. The only reason why this one isn't a 5-star is because it was a little bit all over the place, and some things happened in this that were very out of character, in my opinion. But yeah, it was still a great book. Sorry if I'm repeating myself to what I said in my last video. I did literally just upload this reading vlog. But yeah, these two were so good. Definitely the best out of the trilogy. I can't decide which one I like more. But yeah, the twists and turns in all these books literally leave you so shocked. So in this book, Pip decides for her school project, she wants to write about the case that has actually been closed about Andy Bell, who was supposedly murdered by Sal Singh. But Pip's not so sure that that's the truth of the story. So she decides, okay, I want to figure out what actually happened. And she decides to do this for her school project. And when she starts trying to unravel secrets about this case, she starts finding out things that she wasn't expecting at all. And it's just so good when you follow along with her trying to figure out these secrets. Someone is trying to keep these secrets from being revealed. That is everything I read in March. It was such a good reading month, and I can't wait for this month in April for all the books I'm going to be reading this month as well. I just cannot wait. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I love you all. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!